The rain hadn't let up for hours. A thick mist clung to the streets of Chestnut Hollow like a secret it refused to share. The neighborhood was quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that feels unnatural, like someone had pressed pause on life. Police cruisers parked silently in front of a pristine, two-story home with white siding and a bright red door. No signs of forced entry. No broken glass. No blood. Just an eerie stillness that wrapped itself around everything. Inside that house, something was terribly wrong. A school counselor named Natalie Vega had vanished. No struggle. No witnesses. Her keys still hung on the hook near the front door. A steaming cup of coffee had gone cold on the kitchen table. Her phone was still charging by her bed. But she was gone, as if she'd dissolved into thin air. The first responding officers searched every room and attic crawlspace. They checked the backyard, questioned neighbors, and labeled it a voluntary disappearance. But Officer Mia Reynolds knew better. And so did her canine partner, Koda. Before we go deeper, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Pawsitive Tales. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the life-saving loyalty of animals, your support helps us bring more powerful stories like this to light. Mia wasn't just any officer, she was someone who had lost everything. Her younger brother, David, also a cop, had gone missing 2 years earlier. His case was never solved. One day he kissed her goodbye, and that night, he never came home. Since then, Mia buried herself in work, isolated from friends and family. Her only constant was Koda, a sable-furred German shepherd with storm-gray eyes who had once been deemed too anxious for active duty. Koda's story was just as heartbreaking. He had failed his military canine training after suffering a breakdown in the field. Loud noises, closed spaces, and abandonment had left scars on him that didn't heal with time. But when Mia met him in the corner of a quiet kennel at the station's animal unit, something clicked. Two souls burdened by trauma, silently understanding each other. He needed someone to believe in him, and Mia needed someone who would never leave. Now, they were partners in the department's search and rescue unit. They'd found missing children, elderly wanderers, even tracked a carjacking suspect through a dense forest. But nothing could have prepared them for the Vega case. Natalie Vega was no ordinary missing person. She had spent her life helping troubled teens in the foster system, many of whom had survived abuse. Soft-spoken but fiercely compassionate, she was the person students called Ms. V, the only one who listened when no one else would. The idea that she would vanish without a trace didn't sit right with Mia. Something was being missed. When Mia and Koda were called in, it had been 72 hours since Natalie was last seen. Statistically, her chances of survival had plummeted. But Mia had learned that statistics didn't account for grit, intuition, or the unwavering instincts of a determined dog. The house had already been cleared by 2 separate teams. Nothing unusual was found. But the moment Koda entered, his demeanor shifted. His tail stopped wagging. His ears perked, stiff. He didn't sniff with interest, he moved with tension. Fear. He started pacing the hallway upstairs, nose twitching. When they reached the linen closet at the end of the hall, Koda froze. Then, slowly, he raised his paw and tapped the door. Once. Twice. Then began scratching hard. Mia opened it. Just towels and coats. But Koda kept scratching at the back panel. A hidden panel. Mia's heart thundered as she gently pushed the false wall. It gave way with a crack and a moan. Behind it, a crawlspace. Just large enough for a body. And there she was. Natalie Vega. Alive. Barely. Curled into herself, eyes sunken, lips cracked. A whisper passed her lips as light flooded the void, "You found me." The paramedics couldn't believe she had survived. She was dehydrated, drugged, and in a state of deep trauma. But it wasn't just the discovery that shocked everyone. It was who had done this to her. Gregory Masters. Natalie's ex-husband. A charming psychologist who once ran therapy programs for foster youth. No one suspected him until Natalie's fragile voice pointed them in his direction. Mia couldn't stop thinking about how close they had come to missing her. 1 inch off. 1 moment less. Without Koda, Natalie would have died in the dark, sealed inside a space no one else thought to look in. As she recovered in the hospital, Natalie told Mia something haunting. She said that in her darkest moments, when she believed she would never be found, she began to dream of a dog. A big, strong dog scratching through the walls. And sometimes she swore she heard real scratching, even when no one was there. Maybe she wasn't dreaming after all. Gregory Masters was arrested after a full investigation unearthed years of deeply buried misconduct. Not only had he abused Natalie, but he had also manipulated reports to protect other abusers in the foster system. Her disappearance was a desperate attempt to silence her. Instead, her voice became louder than ever. Natalie's story made national headlines. But amid all the attention, she asked to meet just one being, Koda. She knelt before him in her hospital room, tears falling into his fur, whispering thank you again and again. From that day, Mia and Natalie became connected not just by trauma but by healing. Months passed. Natalie slowly began to rebuild her life. But she didn't stop there. Inspired by the bond she'd witnessed between Mia and Koda, she launched a non-profit, Silent Paws. A therapy program pairing trauma survivors with retired service dogs. Victims of domestic abuse, veterans with PTSD, foster kids, people whose pain had no words found companionship in dogs like Koda. Koda, now retired from active duty, became the program's first ambassador. He spent his days lying beside children who refused to speak, sitting beside survivors in courtrooms, and walking beside people learning to trust again. Mia, too, found new purpose. Working alongside Natalie, she helped train canine teams not just for police work but for emotional rescue. She saw how sometimes a dog's presence could do what years of therapy couldn't. Together, they helped change laws around hidden compartments in homes, improving the way missing persons cases were handled. Mia gave lectures. Natalie told her story. Koda walked between them quietly, living proof of redemption. One chilly winter evening, a young girl named Lily was brought to Silent Paws. 10 years old. Refused to speak. Found abandoned in a motel with signs of neglect. Foster homes had failed. Therapists said she was too closed off. But the moment she met Koda, she walked right to him and whispered, "You found Ms. V, right?" Everyone froze. No one had told her the story. No one expected her to speak at all. Koda looked up at her gently and leaned into her chest. That moment became the symbol of something much larger, a ripple of healing across people and animals alike. If this story has moved you even a little, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to believe again, and subscribe to our channel, Pawsitive Tales. But most importantly, comment below. Thank you, Koda. Let's fill the comments with gratitude for the animals who save us in the quietest, most powerful ways. Thank you for being with us. Never underestimate the healing touch of paws and the heartbeats that fight for us in silence. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and stay hopeful.